Dressed in a stylish suit and striding confidently, she is Seraphim Ma, the managing partner at Baker McKenzie.
I always consider myself a chivalrous woman, 侠女。
一路观察，她真的就是非常一个有恒心的人，有毅力的人。凡是她认定要做的事情，她就会一直的坚持的往下做下去。
She initiated the Rotary International Bridge of Life Scholarship Program, supporting thousands of underprivileged students in their education.
These students are not very confident. I think that's something they all faced. So I try to let them believe themselves.
Law is often viewed as a field dominated by men. However, the focus of our story today, Seraphim Ma, breaks many preconceptions of what a lawyer should be. A top attorney at the international law firm Baker McKenzie, Seraphim has more than 30 years of experience in fighting for the rights of laborers. How did she excel and become a top name in her field? How does she maintain her passion for law and for life? Let's find out. Dressed in a stylish suit and striding confidently, she is Seraphim Ma, the managing partner at Baker McKenzie. Today, we're meeting Seraphim at her office to experience a day in the life of an international lawyer.
Thank you for visiting our office. Let me introduce my team first, okay? I know many people have these doubts about lawyers. They criticize lawyer as being, too greedy, doing whatever to take on cases and to win cases by all means. But that's not at my firm, okay, and that's not me. We only accept clients that have corporate conscience. Yeah. So if we find that a client is guilty, we will suggest him to plea bargain. In no ways will we falsify evidence or encourage perjury. Okay. Yeah, we have to stay hungry, but never be greedy. You are not really sincere in making this settlement. So I would say you start from 50%. That's reasonable.
Seraphim has over 30 years of professional experience, specializing in labor law. However, when she first started practicing, she was actually an intellectual property lawyer. It was only through an accidental opportunity that she became involved in labor cases, changing her trajectory.
I started practicing intellectual property litigation at first, okay, but personally, I always consider myself a chivalrous woman, 侠女, So I think that's why I started volunteering at Ministry of Labor, where I encountered many workers who did not know how to negotiate with their employers. So that's a good lesson for me to understand, resolving dispute requires more than just quoting the rules of law, answering legal questions. Actually, it requires a middle person who is willing and dedicated in resolving the disputes and finding an amicable solutions for both parties.
Contrary to the common stereotype of lawyers being eloquent and assertive, Seraphim actually possesses a gentle heart. When handling cases, she often maintains an attitude of active listening and empathy.
I remember once I volunteered to help a worker to file for wrongful termination. We lost at the district court level, okay? Of course, I was disappointed, but not because we lost our case at the stage, but because that woman, okay, a very poor lady suffering cancer, unfortunately passed away before the appeal could be heard, okay? Even now, I still feel a deep sense of sadness for her struggle during the prolonged procedures. Okay, fortunately, right now, Taiwan's litigation procedure has been much more efficient than before. Yeah, so that's a case I will always remember. Another case that left a very strong impression on me was helping a client, a foreign bank, to avoid their union strike resulting from their merger of a local bank. Okay, I remember that director was an Indian, educated in UK. So he was very satisfied with our legal opinion because it really worked. Okay, we avoid this union strike successfully. However, on the other hand, he was concerned that I might be too gentle, too kind to the union, because I was absolutely very different from the lawyers he encountered in the past. One time I suggested that why don't we go to the food stand, with the union representative and have a beer, then we can strike the collective bargaining agreement more easily. He was so shocked. Okay, so that's also one thing a good lawyer should be. We have to understand the controversial, different cultures of every client, every involved party, only to listen attentively and then respond to their questions with an open mind. Then we can really be a lawyer to solve their problems.
When discussing her expertise, Seraphim's eyes sparkle with resolute confidence. However, when she was applying to university, her original aspiration was not to become a lawyer, but rather a diplomat.
When I was young, my dream was to become an ambassador. Okay, so my first choice for college was International Relations section of Political Science at NTU, National Taiwan University. Well, unexpectedly, when I was granted the 书卷奖given to the top 3 students in the class, one of my professors asked me, well, why do you want to achieve such a high score? I said happily, I want to be the first female ambassador of Taiwan. And then he literally just laughed off his head and said, you may as well just marry an ambassador. Yeah, that's disappointing. Yeah, but I think I transferred to law. Maybe that's one of the reasons. But actually, it's not because I cannot handle a joke, but because there was no gender equity at that time.
As a female lawyer, she has also encountered stereotypes, such as being deemed unprofessionally dressed by clients or being referred to as Miss Ma instead of Attorney Ma.
Many clients still have strong doubts about female lawyers, especially in criminal cases. I remember vividly, one of my clients told me, wow, really, after the first hearing he attended with me, then he felt confident that, oh, it should be okay, I retain Seraphim Ma. Why? Because he said actually he decided to use me after the first meeting because he liked my ability to think outside the box. However, he had to debate, a very serious debate with his entire legal team. For what? Because at the first meeting, I wore a red jacket, so they think that I'm too feminine. Yeah, so that's a kind of bias against female, I think. Another case is, for example, one chairman likes to refer to me as Miss. So when I implied to him that, most people would call me Attorney Ma, 律师, then he immediately said, okay, Miss Ma, 马小姐. Right, that's something we have to handle. Let me show you my bag that I have been carrying for 34 years. Since the first day I joined Baker McKenzie, I've been using this bag whenever I go to a court hearing, a meeting with the clients. And some people ask me, well, it's kind of old, why wouldn't I throw it away? I think it just brings back all this memory of all my life at Baker McKenzie and how much my mentor, Dolly taught me about how to take care of clients, how to, even started the labor law practice. So this is a treasure to me. I will never throw it away.
Seraphim does not believe that her gender has limited her professionally. In fact, her mentor Dolly, who has been a significant source of inspiration and support in her career, is also an outstanding female lawyer.
I think Taiwan has made significant progress in gender equity. Okay, that's great. But I suspect that still there is this subconscious discrimination against the woman. It's still deep inside. Why? Because right now I'm the managing partner of my office, okay? And when I say that, some of my other friends will say, oh, how can you handle so many lawyers? Okay, but being a leader doesn't mean that you have to be, so tough like a man, to measure how much power you have. No, it requires a lot of empathy, a lot of wisdom, a lot of humble minds, right? It's the same for men or women. So I think this kind of subconscious discrimination is still deeply ingrained, and I hope that we can change that. Okay, otherwise we can still see, when a woman excels in her profession, and people will label her as tough lady, 恰查某, or even someone who neglects her family responsibilities, right? That's not fair. Women can be good followers, but women can also be good leaders.
印象最深的话，我想就是说，他担任我们的 managing partner， 那任劳任怨，我想最主要的就是这个跟人的这个沟通，他是我们大概应该是唯一一个这个 managing partner，myself included， 大概唯一一个能够曾经做过跟我们事务所每一位同仁都亲自访谈过。那我想这个，尤其是在我们的所有的律师，不只是律师，包括我们所有的这个 professional 的这个 business 的 support 的 step 来讲，整体每一个人，他都跟他们都有亲自访谈过，而且还不止一次。那也每一次所花费的时间也通通都不短。那其实是我们事务所将近200个人，所以你可以想象一下这个本身的这个时间所需要。那谈才只是刚刚开始，谈了之后如何能够再继续把发现问题，然后如何来去集合不同的人，寻找解决的方式，然后进一步的能够做下去。那我想这一点，这个本身是我的这个对他是佩服的不得了。
Liang Zhi was Seraphim's senior in university, and the two have been colleagues for over 30 years. Liang Zhi not only admires Seraphim's leadership style, but also appreciates her relentless work ethic.
所以我都不要人家说他是我同学或学长，好害怕。
我们就一下子一直被人家威逼说，
你一定要叫我小学妹。
你这是小学妹，学妹还不行，要小学妹。那我觉得个人来讲的话，我觉得第一个绝对最吸引我的地方就是说他的 integrity。那我觉得他在这个坚持要做对的事这件事情本身，那这个一路以来，这个我看到一个就是始终如一，在对于这个如何做对的事这件事情能够一路坚持下来。那我想这是我对他的第一个人格特质的认识。那第二个的话，我想就是说，因为英文常用的这个词叫 grit。grit 的话，就是其实翻到中文的话，大概就是恒心、恒毅力、恒心跟毅力。那 Cheryl 就我想，因为尤其我们认得了40多年，所以我是可以很近距离的一路观察，他真的就是非常一个有恒心的人，有毅力的人。凡是他认定要做的事情，他就会一直的坚持的往下做下去。所以你要让我用一句话来去形容他的话，我会这样想，就是说，这个国父说啊， 这个革命尚未成功，同志仍需努力。我跟你说啊，只要革命还没成功的时候，你就会发觉 Sarah 就一定是那个仍然在继续努力的那个同志。
Persist in doing the right thing is a principle that Seraphim applies when advocating for her clients' rights and in her dedication to public service. For decades, she has been actively involved in charitable activities. In 2014, she initiated the Rotary International Bridge of Life Scholarship Program, supporting thousands of underprivileged students in their education.
I launched a project called Bridge of Life Student Scholarship from 10 years ago. Okay, it's a program to help disadvantaged college students, but it's not just about giving money. Okay, we retain international coach to provide them with career development courses. And more importantly, we have Rotarians to act as their mentors so they can share their life experiences, work experiences. Yeah, up to now, I think we have helped about more than 2,000 students. I remember one student told me that she used to consider her life as void, just 有个破洞, and then Bridge of Life just strike her like the light into her life because there is a crack. Yeah, so these students are not very confident. I think that's something they all faced. So I try to let them believe themselves. Sometimes I encourage them to take some courses, and they would say, maybe that is difficult. Oh, that's English. My English is not good, etc. But actually, when they are willing to learn, they are all very, very motivated students. 对对对，没有啊，你每次笑起来就觉得。Everything is so right.
25 years ago, after attending a speech by former Rotary International President Gary Huang, Seraphim was deeply moved and began participating in related activities and promoting public welfare. For Seraphim, this is where she found her passion for life.
马律师，他的表现是从他当社长开始，他也参与。那他是律师。他也发挥他的长处，我认为他的长处在于收集资料，在于知道怎么样分析，能够抓住重点。他在做这个总监的时候，也遇到 COVID-19 的这种情况，那时候的训练通通都是要视讯他不能够出国或干什么，但他刚好能够在视讯上做很好的 PowerPoint。做很好的资料的分析收集，透过视讯，把他的理想和他的经验分享给全台湾，甚至全亚洲或全世界的人。像他这样子的好的夫人、女性的领导人，也因为他的表现和他的参与，影响到很多，也是。条件很好，又很努力在做，同时有服务的心胸，愿意去帮助需要帮助的人或帮助你的这个组织或者是国家，让他们愿意参与，愿意学习，愿意跟他沟通。
The philanthropic attorney Ma always goes the extra mile to help others. However, when it comes to herself, how does she take care of her own well-being? Amidst the high-pressure demands of work and life, how does she find balance?
I remember quite a while ago, I worked 36 hours nonstop. Okay, and then I just felt so stressed. But before I collapsed, I closed the door of my office and then I just cried out loud, okay? So I think crying, sometimes emotional expression is a way to relieve the stress. On the other hand, I think I like embroidering. I do something when I was watching drama. That's right, trust me, I'm a huge fan of drama, romantic types. And I do the embroidering, so I have to focus on the needle in my hand, that's like a meditation. Okay, so I try to forget the thoughts in my mind, and then I can relax and fall to sleep very, very quickly.
For Attorney Ma, embroidery is not just a leisurely hobby, but a form of creative expression. Fond of beautiful clothing, she often uses her ingenuity and skilled hands to breathe new life into old garments.
I love doing all this, right? Placing the beads and the laces, etc., on the old clothes. So when I get bored, this one suit, I get bored, I just try to put something on. And actually, 夏之, the big brand, is my inspiration. When I saw they doing all this, I think, wow, the embroidering is such a special art. Actually, this is my first artwork, and I don't really like it that much now. Okay, so maybe tomorrow I will just tear everything apart and do some different design. Yes. For example, maybe I want to do something differently for this one. Okay, maybe for this one. And then I will have to add something more on this. For example, this doesn't look good. Okay, so then I have to try and make it look better, right? So I will just try and then make it stand up, rather than just lie there. So take this for example. Okay, the green part is the original design, but when I wore it several times, it's old, right? But I don't want to throw it away for saving the earth, right? So I try to do something different. So all this white little beads, that's by me. Okay, so I just do a little bit, and then make it new. And I will never throw it away because it's from my design and my dedication to make it a very beautiful pair of shoes.
In addition to embroidery, Seraphim also loves reading. She takes out a book titled, "If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Happy?" and shares some of her favorite passages with us.
A sentence from Roman Roland. It says, "When selfish happiness becomes the only obstacle, then your life will be losing the purpose very quickly." Yeah. And something else? Yeah, so I'm happy, but I don't want to be selfishly happy. 就是他说，谦虚是快乐的元素吗？傲慢跟自恋的人从幻象中得到能力，但这些幻象不断与现实冲突，随后呢必然是会幻灭，就发生了自我的憎恨啊，内在的空虚，而这就是因为我们发现无法达成自己的期望，而谦虚的人就是能够避免这些不必要的烦恼。与虚伪吹捧者不同的是，谦虚者自然地安住于个人内在的自由中，而吹捧者则是为了生存而必须得到确认。
Content and selfless, humble yet confident. This is the life philosophy that Seraphim adheres to.
Yeah, luckily I was awarded this Asian Woman in Business Law Awards for 2 years. Okay, nothing too special, but I would like to say I was actually quite surprised that no one from Taiwan submitted this application to get this award. Okay, so I'm probably the only one who submitted the application, but why not, right? Be confident and try to make yourself shine in the international platform. We can all do that. So when I was awarded this awards, maybe that's also one reason I try to devote more my time in helping women to have their career developed. I believe that more and more women will find themselves be in good shoes to be better. And recently, I tried to explore the Taipei Grand Trails, okay, because really Taiwan has so many incredibly beautiful mountains, and I enjoy it, and I also learn some philosophy out of this hiking. For example, I have been living in an environment with so many exceptional, outstanding people. So we all try to climb up to the top, but then they feel disappointed or uncertain about going down. So I think hiking also helped me to understand that I want to go up to the top, but I need more courage to climb down. Only if we are willing to do this, then the younger generation can have more room for them to grow and flourish.
Seraphim's embroidery works are truly impressive. As a female lawyer, although she has encountered stereotypes, she has not been limited by them. Instead, she has utilized her soft and empathetic qualities to excel in her legal career. Hopefully, everyone can have the same perseverance and passion as Seraphim and excel in their chosen fields.